The student class is something like this, okay? The student class will have consist of a few class field. This one I already teach them, not teach, show them last week, okay? And not last week, it's this week. So you got 3 class field, okay? You call this as class field. You don't call them as variable, okay? Call it as class field. You got 3 class field, name, student ID, and mark. Then you have a student, okay? This is the default constructor. Default constructor, you just initialize the value. Then you have alternate constructor. Alternate constructor, right? Initially, I'm doing using string, okay? We take in 3 parameter of string. Why we take 3 parameter of string is because, do I need to explain the worksheet again, or I can direct jump to the question? Your task is you need to write a menu. Your university asks you to write a menu, and the menu need to able to read a CSV file. The CSV file contain the name, contain the student ID, and contain the mark. You need to validate all these 3 fields, okay? Name should not be blank, should not be null, okay? And then the student ID should be between 100,000 or something. 100,000 until, what is the 99999, okay? And then the mark is between 0.0 until 100. This is the basic requirement. So we use a set name, set student ID, and set mark, okay? Initial planning is we use string because we want to split the CSV. You have a copy constructor. Copy constructor is convention, okay? Even if you didn't use it, you need to provide a copy constructor, okay? I'm not sure the UC got changed this rule or not. You can go and email ask him personally, okay? If your UC say don't need all, feel free to inform me, I also want to know, Then, right, not feel free, please tell me, okay? And then you have your mutator. Your mutator also known as setter, okay? And your mutator, right, always accompanied by the keyword of set, okay? Example, if you have a mutator of set name, right, then it means you are actually setting the name as the class field, okay? And then you have student ID, set student ID, and you do the validation. If it's illegal argument exception, right, then you throw the error. Okay, let me ask you, before I proceed, right, is there any problem in here? Did you spot any problem? 3 seconds to think. In names is equal to blank. In name is equal to null. Is there any problem? Now I review the code, then only I saw the problem. But what problem? If, let's say the in name is null, okay, if the string is null, right, if you pass in null in here, what will happen? It is null. Null dot equals, right, when you are doing this checking, it will tell you null pointer exception. It will tell you null pointer exception, okay? You shouldn't do this. You are supposing to do like this. You check if it's not null first. If it's not null, right, then only you check if it's equal to blank, okay? The order is important, order is important. Because if it's, I think first whether I want to teach you a shortcut or not. Okay, I teach you. Actually, in programming, right, we got a shortcut. If we are doing an OR operator, so long this is true, right? So long this is true, it will directly jump into this one, okay? It will not evaluate this one. It will not check this. It will check if this is true, right? Then it will directly jump to this line, okay? This is a shortcut evaluation done by programming, okay? Internally, how should I say, how the programmer. Then we go to student ID. Student ID, right? They will check if the range is correct or not. If it's not correct, right, then you throw illegal argument exception. And then set mark, okay, set mark. And then you have illegal argument set mark. You need to check the mark, okay? If it's all valid, then only you set it, okay? Then you have a get CSV. Get CSV simply return a string format of CSV, okay? So it's like this. And then you have get name, okay? And then it's just simply returning the class field, okay? Class field. Class field is just now the one I show you in the top. This one, okay, this one. And then get student ID, right, will return this one. Because we always put our class field as private, okay? So we need to have a public accessor to return the value. This will make sense if you are using an IDE. And then our equals method. Let's complete our equals method. Our equal methods haven't completed yet. Our equals method, if our name is equals to our students.getName, and what else do we need to do? Equals ID and not, okay? Then I write it. If our student ID is equal to our in-student dot, this is what I mean just now. If you are using a IDE, then it will make sense, okay? Get student ID. Where is my get student ID? Get student ID, and then what's our mark, and our mark dot get mark, okay? Is it like this? Correct? Is everything correct? Everything look good to you? Yes. You know what is our mark? It's for using a tolerance. This is class constant. Class constant. And this one is actually a class field. So we need to use met.absolute. Met.absolute, or absolute of our mark minus our students.getMark, in student.getMark is less than our tolerance value, less than our tolerance. If our max absolute, of our mark, absolute mean, convert any negative number become positive. But if it's a positive number, it will remain as positive. That means absolute. If our mark minus our in-student.getMark, if the value is small enough, less than, let's say less than our tolerance value, then we consider it as valid, okay? And then our clone method, our clone method is simply call the student of this one. Later, if you don't know, I think you know, okay? This example in the build class show you how to use the clone. The clone is simply same as the copy constructor. And then the toString, your worksheet asks you to print it like this, okay? The name followed by a space, followed by a left bracket, and then the student ID, right bracket, score the percentage. You can also make this one-digit value by using the string dot format, but I lazy do it now. If you want to do it, then you do it by yourself later at home. Google how to make it one format. I post it in the reference also. Let me tell you a very honest answer. If you are doing an application meant for other people to use it, meaning you are sharing for other people, you don't expect them to do this type of validation. Then it is you who do the validation for them, okay? So your code, your object class, should contain this type of validation. Should throw the illegal argument exception. So in your main, it's like this. Your student app, would print something as, if you want to initialize the array, say you want to have, because you are not just reading the student name, okay? You are not just reading the list. Your worksheet say you need to store the, you want to allow them to key in the name also. Say if the list, imagine the list is 5 students only. If there is 5 students only, later in the fourth option, you need to allow the user to key in the extra student up until 20. That is why we open it up until 20. If your worksheet didn't say, if your worksheet didn't provide this option, okay? If your worksheet didn't limit the number, then we are not doing like this. We need to have an index to know which index we are looking at, correct or not. Then what we need to do is, we need to declare index. Let's say this array index. Our array index is starting from 0. We always store the array index starting from 0. We will use this index to store the data into this one. Store data into this one. Later I will show you how. You will write a method to return. When you read the file, you also need to return the index. Okay. So this one, would be no longer void. We want to return the array index. So it's int. beside of passing a file name, right, we also need to pass in this index. Okay, we need to pass in this index also. So integer of our array index. Later we would have to return the array index. Okay, we will return the array index. Last week I showed you how to write a user interface, right? We only write get integer, we only write get double, right? We only write get character. Okay, now we need to one more thing. Okay, I don't want to get my string each time. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to write a method for get our string. Okay, so let's call this as input string. We will return the starter type as string. And then scanner sc is equal to new scanner. This one is actually string. String input is equal to, let's say empty string. And then system out.println. Oh, there's one more. We need to pass in the message. We need to pass in the message. Okay, pass in the message. And then input plus equal to sc.next line. If you use next line, right, it will take in the space. Okay, it will take in the space. Example, right, if you ask the user to get key in something, right, so he go and type blah 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 like this on, then it will take the whole sentence. Okay, it will take the whole sentence. If you only use next, right, if you use next only, right, it will only take the first one. Okay, it will only take the first one. This is the difference between next line and next. You don't need this one. You don't need this one. There's no need of do while also. Okay, just directly return the input. Okay, done. The reason why we didn't close this one, right, is because we are using a static one. Because if you want to recall a static method, right, if you close it all, then you cannot use it again. Okay. For whatever reason, you can go and ask your UC to explain it. I didn't go and Google. If you are kind enough, you go and Google it for me. First, right, we need to print the menu. Where is our menu? This one. Okay. We call the print menu first. Okay, print menu. And then we need to one more variable. One more variable, right, is to get the menu option. Okay, integer menu option. I call it as menu option. I always declare, okay, just as a good practice. Menu option is equal to 0. And then, right, I want to switch the menu option. It is, what is the menu? Menu starting from 1 until 0. 1 until 5, like for me. 1, case 1, right? Remember to add the break. Case 1. And then we have case 2, case 3, case 4. And then you need case 5 also. Case 5, and then 0 to exit. Okay? So let me change it. Case 2, case 3. I'm not a keyboard user. Case 4. Then this one is a case 5. For me, mouse is faster. And then, right, what else do we need? In our case 1, case 1 is what? Case 1 is import data from the CSV. Okay? If you import the data CSV, right, then you would call the read file. Okay, read file. So you call the read file function. Read file. Okay? And then what else do we need? We need to get a file name. String file name. Okay, string file name. Okay. Here. So we have our file name. Our file name, right? We need to file name is equal to this one. User interface. If you want to use a static class, right, you place in the same directory. Okay. So our user interface dot input string of, please enter the CSV file name path. Okay. If you put the CSV in the same directory in here, right, you don't need to enter the path. You only key in the name only. Okay, you only key in the name. And then you pass in the read file, right, you pass in the file name, right, and also you pass in the index. Okay, I accidentally deleted the index. We have an integer of our array index is equal to 0, like this. Okay. So I close this one first. And close this one. So this is our, so far what have to be done. Okay. Oh, it's integer. Okay. So our student of our main, right, we already 准备 already. We already prepare a store students of our array of size 20. And then we print the menu. Then we have our array index starting at 0. This one is array index. Array index. In case if you forgot, I just show you. Okay. Array index is passing in here. And then, right, we have a menu option. Our menu option, right, is to print in here. Okay. Print in here. You print the menu, right? Then you want to please enter. You need to enter you need to have the menu option. You need to get the menu option. Menu option is equal to user interface dot get input integer. Please enter your menu choice 0 to 5. Okay, because our menu is providing option from 0 to 5. So we do like this. So we get the menu option first. After we get the menu option, right, and then we need to 准备 a file name. We need a while loop. Okay, while the menu option is not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, right, then we need to print this. We need to print this entire thing. So I will move this into the while loop. Okay. What the menu option is not equal to 0. What the menu option is not equal to 0, right? Then we need to switch it off. Switch this one because we need to print the menu. Okay, we need to print the menu. After we finish the switch, right, when we enter the while, right, we need to display the menu again. Okay, we need to display the menu again. You print the menu first. You print the menu and then ask you to please enter your choice. Typo. Please enter your choice. Where is the please enter your choice? This one. Okay, please enter your choice. This one extra. This one extra. Okay, this one extra. Don't need this one. Let me rerun it. Okay, print, not print line. It should be print. You print the message, not print line. This one is not print line. This one is print. So this one read file, right? I changed it to a better name. Read file seem like not so good. Not so good. Remember just now I changed the read file to return the integer of the array index, right? So our this one array index, right? Our array index is equal to this one, read file. Read file so lame the name. Give me a better suggestion name. I don't like this one. Read CSV. What should I call it? Read CSV return index. Okay, return index. Is this name better? Read CSV return index. Make more sense, right? So I will stick with this one. Any objection or you got a better name? Tell me. I use your name. So this read CSV return index, right? The purpose of you need to add your block comment. Okay. Right now to save time, I don't write the block comment. Then you will write your block comment by yourself. The read CSV return index, right, is to read the file stream and then return the index. Okay. This code is entirely from your lecture slide 1. From your lecture slide 1. Okay. We haven't do the test harness, right? So before we straight jump into our coding, so brave, we should do a test harness first. Okay. We should do a test harness first. So let me collapse this one. Before you jump into coding straight ahead, do the menu, you need to do a test harness first. Okay. Let's say this is called as test harness. We are doing a test harness testing. Okay. Same thing. If you are doing a test harness testing, right, you write a method. Okay. Public method, public static method. And then, right, let's call this one as test harness. testing, okay? Test harness testing. Our test harness testing, right? We want to test this one, okay? We want to test if the array is working or not. So we get the student array, student of store students, okay? Store students. Test harness testing, right? Store students, okay? You will get in this one, get this parameter, pass in this here, and then we will do the test harness testing in here, okay? So our per test harness testing, right? First, we want to test our default constructor, okay? Testing our default constructor. Testing default constructor at the new line, okay? After we do this, right, then only we start our real rock and roll, okay? After we finish the test harness, then only we do our menu, okay? I will collapse this line, I will collapse this line, collapse this one. I will do this, resume do this. If the line is not null, right, then we need to do what? We need to split the CSV, right? Then we need a string array of our, let's say I call it as tokens, token CSV. Let's call it as token CSV. This token CSV, right, is used to store the split method, okay? I will use a try catch in here. Try catch, right, when there's an exception, then I will print the exception, I will print the exception. Get message, get message, okay? This get message, right, is from this one, is from here. Here. When it encounters exception, then it will throw the exception, throw in here, okay? Let's say, right, token CSV, our token CSV is equal to, we want to split from this line, because our line, right, is the buffer reader read line, right? So we put line dot split, use the split method, right? And then followed by this one is called as delimiter, and the array element, right, pass into here, right? Each element is called as token, okay? Each element is called as token. We need to pass in what do we need to pass in? Store student array, correct or not? We need to pass in the store student array, okay? So let's say I put the store student array in the middle, store students, okay? Because you need to store into each one in here, okay? Then you need to pass in the store students. It's in the middle, okay? Like this, okay? And then our store students, right? Our store student is equal to new students of. So what is this one? Our token CSV 0. First element is student name. First element is student name. Then our second element is student ID. And then our third element is our marks. Okay, our marks. This one you need to put the array index. This one, array index. Okay, array index. And then after you finish done this, right, then you want to increment it, array index plus equal to 1, okay? Then save it, okay? So this is so far you need to do, when you encounter the error, right? Let's say if one of these fields is not valid, okay? Say the student ID is not valid, right? If the student ID is not valid, it will not enter this line. It will not enter line 93. It will direct enter the cache exception. That's why you can safely do it like this, okay? And then after you finish the read line, right, then only you go and next. Okay, you go next, okay? After you finish do the reading, right, then make sure you remember you need to close the stream. Close the stream at the earliest scope. If you encounter the exception, right, if the file stream is not null, right, you need to close the stream. Remember, close the stream, okay? Otherwise, you cache the exception. Then you print error. Okay, continue. Okay, let's try it. Now we rerun our program. So let's say I import the student data from CSV. Okay, please enter the CSV file name and path. Let me finish write the third method first. Third method. Okay, let me finish write the third method first. Because right now in here, you don't know, you cannot know you do it correctly or not. So let me write the third method first. Our third method is view all student data. View all student data. View all student data, right? Let's say I call this as public. We need a public method. Public method of print. Let's say we call this as what? What? Let's say this is print student data. Okay, print student data. Our print student data, right, will take in the argument of our student, store student, and also our array index. Okay, so it's very simple function. Okay, you want to print our student array for integer I is equal to 0 if I is less than our array index. If because when we increment, right, we increment it by 1, so that's why it is less than, not less than, equal. It's less than. For I is equal to 0, I is less than our array index, right? Then we need to print out the store students I dot to string. Print student data here, to print the store student and print the array index. Enter the CSV file name path. Okay, so I enter here. I press enter. I use option 3 to see all the student data. Okay, I use option 3 to see all the student data. Let's enter option 3. I like it. Then we have we have all this type of data. Eric, you only test the correct data. You try test the not correct data. See? Oh, okay. You want me to test the not correct data? Is it? Let me go and test the not correct data. First, I remove the Christopher Lee, and then second line, right? You cannot see my screen because I only share my IDE. Okay, second line, right? Second line, I'm going to remove the student ID. Okay, and then the third line, right? I will remove the student marks. So in the end, right, you are supposed to see Jessica Chang and Tristan Reed only. Okay, let's rerun it. And then let's say I enter option 1, right? And then I enter the CSV file name. Okay, let's press enter. So let's see. Now I view all the student data. Now we only see 2. Okay, we only see 2. I think you can complete the 3, 4, 5 by yourself, right? 5 probably a bit challenging lah. A bit, not a lot. A bit challenging lah. Aiyo, cannot I show you everything one? Put the argument in here lah. Put the array index in here. Put the array index in here. Got the idea? You pass the array index on. Integer array index. If our array index is less than, for array index is less than 1, right? Then mean is nothing. If the CSV is only 1 line, right? Then the array index is 1. So if there's no student or if there's no student, right? The array index is 0 lah. Okay? More than 0. If array index is more than 0, then only, actually don't use more than, use not equal. If our array index is not equal to 0, right, then we print this. Should be correct. Let me run it. Okay, correct. Then file name is equal to, please enter the CSV file name. Okay, please enter the CSV file name without .csv. Okay, I want the user to enter. Please enter the file name without .csv. Add the space more clear. Add the bracket even more better. Like this. Please enter a file name without .csv. Is there anything else? What else? If you want to print the CSV, pass in the store students. Is this enough? Because in here, right, you cannot print all the things. You cannot print up until 20. Okay? Your array index is not up until 20 because there's line rejection. Okay? There's line rejection, and sometimes the CSV file, right, example there's 5 lines of data, right? You want to print 5 lines only. Okay? You need to print the 5 lines only. After this, we need to do modification. Okay? String file name, and then we have our student. Like this. And then, right, this is how you print write it. Okay? And then for I is equal to 0, and then I is less than our array index, or if it's less than our array index, printline the data, and then only you close it. Okay. Oi, so fast finish already? Let's try run it. Let's try run it. Okay, let's import the student CSV again. Here, okay, example data.csv. So I import it. Example data.csv, I press enter. Okay, here is the rejected line. Okay, and then now I want to export it all. I want to export it. Let's view all the student first. Let's view all the student first. If you view all the student, right, it's supposed to only have 2 lines. Okay, so now if I view all the student, this is the student, okay. Now export all the students to a file, right? Then you enter the CSV file name. Let's say this one is filter, filter data. Okay. Perfect. Oh, forgot to add. I want to add the file name plus .csv. Like this. Okay. Because I don't want the user enter the CSV. I will help him to enter by myself. Okay. Let's restart. Import the student data. Okay. Example data. Okay. And then this is the rejected one. And then let's export. One. Okay. And then let's say this one is filter 2. Oh, done. Let's open the filter 2. Okay. Open the filter 2. So let's see. Perfect. Hey, did you notice something? If we print line like this, so ugly. Got one empty space in here. How can we solve this? To solve this, right, we are going to do something like this. So integer, to solve this issue, we know like this extra empty line because we use a print line. Okay, so let's say last line is equal to a array index -1. So if I is less than last line, right, then we will use the print line, and then finally, then we use the normal print. We use the normal print of our store students of the last line. Okay, last line dot get CSV like this. Okay, this is to avoid the empty /n. Okay, to avoid the empty /n. Let's run it again. So our example data.csv import. Now we import it, and this is the rejected line. Okay, so now let's export. So let's see, this is filter 3. Okay, now let's open filter 3. This is filter 2. Now let's open filter 3. Where's filter 3? Here. Perfect. Now it's only 2 lines, no more extra new line. Okay.